We are all ready to do hoop number 2 in this design. And what I love about this design is it doesn't really use any appliques. I kind of get tired of cutting out applique, like the trimming around the edges and stuff like that. So it's more, I mean, it obviously has the pockets that you have to do and stuff like that, and the batting, but other than that, it's very little trimming. It's wonderful. All right, so I put tearaway stabilizer in my hoop. Again, this design does come in 2 sizes. I'm using the 8 by 12 inch design for this tutorial, but you can also use a 5 by 7 inch hoop. It just makes a smaller advent calendar. All right, I'm gonna take it to the machine and it's gonna run the first stitch, which is the placement stitch for that batting. Our next stitch will be our low loft batting, and so I'm actually going to raise my presser foot up to about 3, maybe 3.5 millimeters, because mine got a little bunchy last time just because I'm working with such a big piece of low loft batting. All right, and I'm ready to do the next tack down stitch. Take your low loft batting and place it over the placement stitches, ensuring that you are getting it all the way past all the placement stitches, and then run the next stitch, which will tack it down. Use some sharp applique scissors and trim around all 4 sides of the rectangle to remove all the excess batting. We are going to put the hoop back into the machine, and it's going to do a placement stitch about halfway through the rectangle. It'll go just like this, and that will guide us on where we put the top fabric piece. Just like before, we are going to measure and then cut our fabric, and so we are only gonna measure from these 2 pieces right here, making sure that we have excess fabric here, excess fabric here, excess fabric here, and excess fabric here. So grab your ruler, and I want about 1 inch from this top placement stitch, which I know is kind of hard to do because of the hoop, and then about 1 inch right here. So honestly, it's gonna be 6 inches by 13 inches, just like before. So I will cut 2 6 inches by 13 inches, maybe even a little longer because we do have to do a fold and flip method. But actually, to be honest, yeah, I'm just gonna cut 2 6 inches by 13 inches pieces of fabric right now. I decided to make my life easy and just cut all at once because I do know that it will be the same dimensions for the last 3 of my hoops. So I have 2 here for hoop number 2, 2 here for hoop number 3, and 2 here for hoop number 4. All right, let's bring it over to the machine and get the first one tacked down. Yeah, a little different angle here, but that's okay. I think it goes without saying, well, maybe, make sure you prep all your fabric, and so I starch it and I iron it all before I use it. So grab your piece right side up and place over this top half, making sure you have excess fabric on all sides. So just like that. I have more than enough. Make sure it goes underneath my needle. Okay, and I want to make sure, yep. And I'd say you maybe need only like 1/4 inch past this one right here. Okay, all right, and then we're gonna tack it down with the next stitch. Besides the size of the finished design, there is one very small difference between the 8 by 12 inch hoop and the 5 by 7 inch hoop, and that is this next stitch. So in the 8 by 12 inch hoop, I give you a placement stitch on where to place the pockets, but because I have so much space on this hoop, I was able to make it go on the sides right here. But because there's not enough space on a 5 by 7 hoop, what I did was I created some lines inside that will be covered by the fabric to show you how high to raise the pocket. So there's just two lines like this and this. And when you get to that, you should cover it all the way to the top of those two lines if you are using the 5x7. But I'm using the 8x12, and so like I said, we have space here, so it's just gonna do two little horizontal lines right here to help us align that pocket. At this time, it is to measure again, and so you want to find this line, these two lines that just stitched out, because that's my placement stitch, and the width of the pockets are going to be 13 inches because the width never really changes in this design, but the height does. And so what I'm going to do is take my ruler. I'm going to use my one that broke, and I'm just going to measure from this line all the way down to here, plus at least another inch. I would maybe say 1.5 inches. So this is about 2.5. So let's just say 3.5, just to be safe, okay? But you have to times that by 2 because we fold it over. So what I'm gonna cut out next is 13 inches by 7 inches. I know I said I was gonna do 7 inches, but unfortunately a lot of my Christmas fabric is only 6 inches wide, so I'm gonna risk it and hopefully it works. We'll see on the very first go. So I'm first gonna cut out my fabric pieces just like so, and what I'm gonna do is, so it's 6 inches high. Again, I wanted 7 inches. We'll see if this works. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera there. All right, so then I need 13 inches. And I'm gonna cut a few of them and see if it works. But I have to take it over to my ironing board, and I'm gonna iron it like this first with starch. And then I'm going to put raw edges together and iron it like this as well. So we'll see if it works. All right, I ironed it and I folded it over, and mine is directional. So you want to make sure that the direction of the fabric is right side up. So this is where my hoop goes in. This is the top right up here. All right, so find those two lines, which I'm going to do right here, and just line it up like so. And honestly, I think it's going to work. Oh yeah, I mean, it's gonna be close. It will be close. I'd rather be short up top than bottom because it's gonna hold in it will make it so that the pocket has a bottom right here, okay? So if it goes a little over, that is perfectly fine. I might change my thread to red at this point. That makes me so happy that 6 inches was perfect. So again, if you're conserving fabric, I think 6 inches will work. So here's the pocket pieces right here. Okay. All right. Now grab another piece of your base fabric. I have mine right here, and find this bottom line right here. And you are going to slide it just past it, wrong side facing up, if you have a wrong side. I do not have a wrong side, but your wrong side, if you do, it should be facing up. And it's gonna tack it down right here, and then we're gonna do the flip and fold method where we'll flip and fold it just like this. So let's take it to the machine and do so right now. Leave your hoop in the machine and just take that piece you just tacked down and fold it over. And now your right side, if you have a right side, should be facing up. And just give it a finger press. And now you no longer have the raw edges for the pockets. And run the next stitch, which will be that decorative quilting feature. It looks so nice. It quilted out so beautifully. All right, leave your hoop in your machine because remember, just like before, it's gonna do those 2 placement stitches for the pockets. Just like before, find those 2 markings right there. Grab your piece. As you can see, mine is directional, so I'll have to pay close attention to that. I definitely don't want to go this way, okay? So I want to go this way, and I want to, of course, have the raw edges outside of the design. And I want about a 1/4 seam allowance. So let's see how close that is. Oh, that's really good. All right, so then I'm taking it over, and it's gonna do, sorry about Daisy there. It's gonna do that stitch. Before I do the tack down for the pockets, I am going to match my top thread with this fabric. So I found this gold, so I'm gonna switch it out real fast. Now we only have to do are the numbers of the days, and you can see that I alternated the colors for you. That way, if you want to play with colors or change the font, if you have embroidery software, please do so. But the only bad thing about it is you do have to keep hitting start. So that's one thing you'll have to watch the machine. All right, so I'm gonna actually change it to my thread to white because I'm gonna do white for all of the letters. We are done stitching out hoop 2, so remove it from the embroidery hoop. Flip it around and carefully tear away all the extra stabilizer. Just like hoop 1, we are going to cut a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we're going to be following this line, the outermost line. I am all done with hoop 2, and I went ahead and also completed hoop 3, and I'm not going to show that on camera because hoop 3 follows the exact same steps as hoop 2. It just uses, of course, the different numbers. And there is one other difference besides that. It is how we cut the left-hand side of the piece. So what I mean by that is, okay, I have already done a 1/4 seam allowance here, 1/4 seam allowance here, and 1/4 seam allowance here. I'm actually going to save an inch, so I'm going to do an inch seam allowance here. And I do this because we are going to turn it inside out in the very last step. And I want extra fabric to be able to sew it shut or glue it shut. So as you can see, I have 1 inch here, and all the other sides I have 1/4 inch. I now have 3 of my hoopings done. Here's hoop number 1, here's hoop number 2, and here's hoop number 3. And I only have 1 more hoop remaining, which is hoop number 4, before we assemble it all together. So please find my next video, which is number 3 in this series, and I will show you how to stitch out hoop 4, which is just a little bit different. The half up here is the same as these two, but the bottom half is a little different. So yes, please grab that last video, and then we will be almost done with this project. Thanks for watching. This design is free on my Patreon. Check the link below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more creative fun.